Hello everyone. Good morning. You know that I have arranged this live session to discuss important questions of the Tempest Act 3, 4 and 5. And the idea is to tell you how you can score well in these questions and how you are supposed to write the answers. I'll be telling you, the perfect way to write the answers of different types of questions that are being asked. This year, we know that MCQs and another one markers like completion of sentences, they have been introduced. And other than that, we have 5 markers and 10 markers also, right? So let's discuss. Children, before beginning with the Tempest questions, I would like to tell you different types of questions which are asked to test the different types of learning abilities in literature. You know what does it mean? It means that before asking any question, there is always a motive of the paper setter. Okay, what is that motive? Like whenever they want to test your memory, for that they will ask you the questions like who, what, when, where, etc. If they want to test your understanding of the text, they would ask you the questions like explain, discuss, describe. If they want to test your application of your knowledge which you have grabbed, which you have acquired from a particular text, for that they would ask you how would you, or what tells you, what do you conclude about. Yes, another thing which is very important is the analysis. You know, in literature, you always have critical analysis in which you study about the different aspects of a text. So, for that, you are always asked, what can you infer, or what do you think, how can you explain? Then, evaluation, for which mostly the question begins with evaluate, or justify, or judge. And then, creation, like speak in the persona of, or design a short story or a play. Now, let me tell you, at the school level, like if you are opting for your ISC exam, most of the questions which are asked are these first four: memory, understanding, application, and analysis. Okay, so in your literature, in the question paper, you will see these four types of questions will be asked. So, in these four types, let me tell you, first of all, let's discuss the pattern of the question paper for ISC literature this year. See, whatever the one markers are, multiple choice questions and completion of sentences, these one markers are based on your memory. Please understand, they are based on your memory, because the kind of questions will be which will be asked are going to be who, what, when, where, right? So for one markers, you are going to get two types of questions: 10 multiple choice questions and 10 completion of sentences. Now please see, these multiple choice questions, they are the lower order questions. Lower order questions means you can say the easiest one. Okay, but of course they are memory based. You need to memorize, you need to understand, and you will have to recall the incidents to answer these questions. And these another 10 completion of sentences, which are again for 1 mark. They are based on your understanding, recall, and reasoning. Why reasoning? Because for every question, to complete the question, you will have to give a reason. Okay, they will give a sentence, they will give a situation ending with because, and then you have to complete the sentence by giving a reason. Then two short questions for 5 marks each from the play, from 5 stories that you are getting, and from 5 poems that you are getting. And to answer these two short questions, you must have a very good understanding of the text, and analysis, critical analysis is also required. And then, of course, two long questions for 10 marks. You'll get a choice. You'll get two long questions from the play, two from stories, two from poems, but out of those two, you have to opt any one. All right. Yes, they are higher order thinking question, children. Higher order thinking question. Please see, analysis and evaluation. These two abilities are required in this: analysis and evaluation. Okay, means your own point of view. All right. And evaluation also, when you are able to evaluate the situation and the character of a person, and you are able to judge or justify the things. Now, MCQs and completion and 5 marks questions, they are compulsory. So your paper will be divided into two parts, section 1 and section 2. Section 1 is compulsory, where you are going to get, which is for 20 marks, where you are going to get 10 MCQs and 10 completion of sentences. Then the other section, which is section 2, it will further be divided into three sections, like for Tempest, then stories, and then poems, in which you will be getting two questions for 5 marks and one question from 10 for 10 marks you will have to attempt. So both the questions of 5 marks are compulsory, but one long question of 10 marks has to be attempted from all three sections out of the two choices provided, right? I hope you have understood the pattern of the question paper. Now let's talk about the Tempest only. Pattern of questions which you are going to get from the Tempest, the play. Four multiple choice questions will be there for 1 mark each. Four completion of sentences will be there for 1 mark each. Two short questions for 5 marks each, which you will have to attempt. And then, of course, one long question for 10 marks. Two choices will be given, but you will have to attempt any one of them, which is compulsory for you to attempt. So, in this way, the total weightage of the play is 28 marks out of 80. Right? So, please understand that the play is very important. Now, let's discuss some of the multiple choices questions also. While practicing these questions, I will also be telling you in what way you are supposed to answer them. Now, look at this first question. In the play, who says, "Offer society, be not afraid"? Now, you see, children, there are two ways to answer MCQs. One is that you are suddenly reminded of the answer, okay? Suddenly you are able to recall. So, you may give the answer very well at that time. But sometimes you are confused. So, in that way, you start thinking in reverse order. Which are the options which cannot be there? Okay, which are the options which cannot be there, and then you may be left with two choices. Out of them you will have to decide, so it will be somehow easier for you. So look at this first question. I'm expecting your answers. Yes, in the play, who says, "Of a society, be not afraid"? Is it Ceres, Iris, Alonso, or Juno? So the answer is Iris. Yes, because Ceres asks Iris whether they are there or not. So Iris says, "No, you need not to be afraid of their company." Next, what agreement does Prospero make with Miranda and Ferdinand in the beginning of Act 4? What kind of agreement Prospero makes with Miranda and Ferdinand? He agrees to forgive Alonso and Antonio. He agrees to set Ariel free. He agrees to get them married. Or he agrees to forgive Ferdinand. Yes. Let's see the answer. The answer is he agrees to get them married. What can Caliban realize by the end of Act 5? By the end of Act 5, what does Caliban realize? Prospero is an impostor. He realizes that he should not have conspired against him. Stefano is a drunken butler. Or he will soon be alone on the island. So the answer is he realizes that Stefano is a drunken butler. Who is referred to as the bounteous queen in the play? Claribel, Miranda, Juno, or Ceres? And the answer is Ceres. Ceres has been addressed as the bounteous queen. In Act 3, Scene 1, what is the sore injunction that Ferdinand referred to? Physical labor, price, Miranda, or the threat of a severe punishment? So, the sore injunction that Ferdinand refers to is the physical labor, the task of piling the logs of woods, okay, which was given to him by Prospero. Yes, in Act 3, Scene 2, what does Caliban say about Miranda to Stefano? That she is a non-peril, she is proud, she is wise and beautiful, she is dominating. Sometimes from the words also, you may find a word which is from Old English. So, of course, it must be the correct answer. So, here it is. The answer is she is non-peril. In Act 5, Scene 1, whom does Prospero address as most wicked, sir? Alonso, Antonio, Sebastian, or Gonzalo? And the answer is Antonio. In Act 4, Scene 1, what does Ceres mean by blind boy's candled company? Pluto's company, company of Venus, disgraceful company of Cupid, or Hymen's reputed company? Yes, blind boy's candled company. So you can understand, blind boy, uh, Cupid is supposed to be the blind boy. So the answer is disgraceful company of Cupid. Right? Now let's discuss some questions of about the completion of sentences. So the question will be complete the following sentences, and I've already told you that in such questions you need to provide the reasoning. Okay, why it happens or why is it said so? Because you'll have to begin your answer with because. In Act 3, Scene 1, Ferdinand asks for Miranda's name because. So the question actually is, why does Ferdinand ask for Miranda's name? Because he wants to set it in his prayers. Now, please understand, to answer these questions, see children, the weightage of these questions is just 1 mark. So it means that 1 point has to be there, right? You need not to explain them to a length. Just give a particular to the point, 1 point, which is the reason basically. Okay. Next, in Act 5, Scene 1, Prospero asks the audience to applaud him because, means why does Prospero want the audience to applaud him? Because the applause and approval of the audience will free him from the island and send him to Naples. Now, please understand, you may answer it in your own language. It's not necessary that like, if that this answer will come in the marking scheme, and if it is written in the same way only, then you will be given the marks. No, it's not like that. You may answer it, but yes, the point, what is the point? He wants the audience to approve, applaud him because he wants to be free. So children may write it like, because he wants to be free from the island, because he wants to return to Naples, because he has completed his task of taking his revenge, he has forgiven his enemies, and now he wants to return to his dukedom Milan. So children may write it in their own way. Okay, but if the sense is the same, then you will definitely be given marks. Look at next. In Act 4, Scene 1, Prospero abruptly stops the mask because, why does he abruptly stops the mask? Because he is reminded of the conspiracy of Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo. That is the reason that he abruptly stops the mask. Then in Act 4, Scene 1, Caliban requests Trinculo and Stefano to read softly because, sorry, it's not read, it's tread. To tread softly. So, tread means walk. It is wrongly written here to tread softly because they may wake up Prospero. He especially brought them at the time when Prospero is asleep. And he doesn't want them to disturb him, and so that he is waken up and then he'll be, their whole plan will be spoiled. Okay. Next, complete the following sentence again. In Act 3, Scene 3, Sebastian says that henceforth he will believe in unicorns and phoenix. When does it happen? It happens in the banquet scene. Yes. So why does he say so? That he will believe in unicorns and phoenix? Because he saw the unbelievable apparitions in which some deformed creatures arranged a banquet for them. Okay, so this is something which was unbelievable for him. So all other unbelievable things like unicorns and phoenix, he said that from now he'll start believing them. In Act 5, Scene 1, Prospero says that he suffers a similar loss like that of Alonso. Because, why does he say so? Because Prospero lost his daughter Miranda the way Alonso lost his son Ferdinand. Alright? So, you can see in all these questions, children, these are very straightforward questions. So, the first reason, whatever comes to your mind, you just jot it down. Okay, you are not supposed to go much into depth, or it's not that like you have to think of 2 3 points. No, the first immediate point which is given in the text, that has to be written as the reason. Okay, In Act 4, Stefano says, there is not only disgrace and dishonor, but also infinite loss. Because, so why does he say so? Because they lost their wine bottles in the filthy pool. They were drowned in a filthy pool, and their wine bottles were lost there. That's why he says so. He's saying this to Caliban. In the epilogue, Prospero pleads for mercy. Because why does he want mercy? Why does he ask for mercy? Because he wants to be released from the charm of the audience and return to his dukedom. Okay, that is the reason. So, this way, I have discussed these 8 MCQs and 8 completion of sentences with you. And I hope that you must have got a clear idea what kinds of questions you will be getting and in what way you are supposed to answer them. All right. If you have any question, you can ask me. If you people feel that if there is any question which you have come across and are not able to answer, you can always ask me. Yes. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's talk about short answer type questions which are for 5 marks. Now, please understand, here I have jotted down some points, which are very important to write 5 markers. Understanding of the text is required to answer these questions. Okay, so you need to read the text, you need to understand it properly. I've already posted my videos about the full explanation of the text. So please don't go for summaries, don't go for any shortcut. Okay, whichever text you have been given, you need to read it thoroughly and understand it, because you cannot answer the questions effectively if you don't understand the text. So, understanding of the text is required. Then, the length of a 5 marks answer should be between 150 to 200 words. This much is sufficient, children. I have seen children who are not able to manage their time. Why? Because what they do, like for 5 marks, they write pages and pages. That's not appropriate. This way, though you may not be penalized there for writing extra, because there is no specific word limit that has been given by the council for these 5 marks questions or 10 marks questions. The idea is that for these 5 marks, if you spend a lot of time in doing these 5 marks questions, then you will not be able to do justice with other questions, or your paper will be left in between. Okay, so as a teacher, I have concluded that an appropriate length of a 5 marks question is between 150 to 200 words, right? Then straight away answer what is asked in the question. No need for an introduction. Straight away answer. You are not supposed to give any brief introduction about the author or the poet, or about the playwright. No. At the same time, you are also not supposed to write anything what has happened before. No, straight away you answer the question, whatever the question has been asked. Okay? Then number of points are not so important, but the relevance of points is very important. What does it mean? What all you are writing in your answer must be related to the question. You are not supposed to talk about here and there. You are not supposed to write anything extra. Relevance of points is very important. And yes, textual quotes are not necessary to be given. In 5 marks questions, you need not to write quotes, textual quotes. Okay, exact words from the text. Now, see here, I have given some important questions because I strongly feel that if you are able to do all these questions, in a way, you will be prepared for short questions. Okay, the first is, how did Ferdinand and Miranda profess their love to each other in Act 3, Scene 1? So, when you will be writing the answer, it's not that you will write a lot about what all happened in the previous scene. No, you will, in the scene begins. Basically, this question is about this first scene, because it is in this scene only that they profess their love, they declare their love. So you must mention, you must write about what all happens in this scene. That's all. Okay. Nothing to discuss about the task which has been given by Prospero, or what all happened in the Act 1, Scene 2, when they saw each other. Yes, you may write a line that in earlier Ferdinand and Miranda had fallen in love with each other, and in the beginning of the scene, Ferdinand clearly mentions that he has accepted this task of piling the log of wood, though it is very mean for him to do, just for the sake of Miranda, as he deeply loves her. Okay, so from this we come to know that Ferdinand is in deep love with Miranda. Okay, and then of course, what all? Then Miranda comes over there. Her visit to Ferdinand at that time professes her love in a way, and then the kind of conversation. Then Ferdinand asks Miranda's name so that he can set it in her prayers, and then he calls her admired Miranda as soon as he comes to know about her name, and he clearly tells that he has met so many women, but there is nobody whom he has found as good as Miranda, because she is equipped with all the qualities that can be there. Okay, so in this way, one after the other, you will start talking, okay, about what all happens in Act 3, Scene 1. Next, then, a devil, a born devil, who is referred to as a devil by Prospero, of course, Caliban. Why does he say so? So, now, why does he say so? Because, here only comes that he is the one on whom nurture cannot have any effect. Okay? Because he is such kind of devil by nature. Okay? So, that has to be written. Describe how the banquet appears before Alonso and his companions, and what happens after that. So, how it appears before them. So, you'll begin from when they all were tired and sitting over there. Suddenly, the spirits start coming over there, making gestures and saluting them, and then they bring some viands and they keep them before them. So, all that has to be described. Then, what role does Ariel play in the banquet scene? Of course, he plays the role of a harpy. Then you need to give a brief description of what a harpy is. Okay, and then what does he tell the three men of sin? So this question is particularly about the prophecy. This question is particularly about Ariel's speech as the harpy. Okay, so you need not to write anything extra in this. How did Juno and Ceres bless the couple in Act 4? So Juno's speech has to be explained, has to be described, and then Ceres' speech. That's it. What did Prospero tell Ferdinand just before the mask? What did it emphasize, and how did Ferdinand answer him? So, just before the mask, he tells him that he has been relieved of that penalty or that task or the punishment, and he has very well understood the test which Prospero wanted to take. Okay, and then he also advises him not to go into any kind of physical relationship with Miranda before wedding. So, what does it emphasize? He was emphasizing upon that thing only. And then how Ferdinand answers him. Ferdinand also assures him the same. Okay. Then in Act 5, how does Ariel express his sympathy for Prospero's enemies? So Ariel says that if he had been a human, he would have spared. He would have, he would have forgiven his enemies. What does Prospero promise to Alonso and Ariel at the end of the play? So he promises a safe sailing to Alonso and freedom to Ariel. So this only has to be described. Then what does Prospero say about the impermanence of the world? After the mask, when he abruptly stops the mask, then he talks about impermanence, the transient world, So that has to be described. Now, you should be able to know that these 5 marks questions are basically based on some incident, that particular incident. So in these answers, that particular incident only should be described. That only should be explained. All right? Okay. Now let's talk about long answer type questions, which are for 10 marks. Long answer type questions, I told you, are high order questions. High order questions means where you need to analyze, where you need to evaluate, where you need to put yourself into that situation sometimes, and you have to give your opinion on that. Judge, then justify your thing. So, for answering such questions, Understanding of the text and critical analysis is required. Understanding of the text, which was required for 5 markers also, and of course for completion of sentences also. But critical analysis is also required. Okay, your own point of view. There is no word limit for such questions. You can write them at length, but please understand, uh, here, your points must be relevant, what all you are writing. Then brief introduction is important with reference to the context of the question. Now, brief introduction, when I talk about this, of course, you may give the brief introduction of the author, writer, but that must be only one line. And that line should also be in context with the question. Okay. For example, you are asked any character sketch. Huh? So you can write that Shakespeare as a writer has portrayed the character of Caliban so effectively that even we start feeling hatred with him, because he is portrayed, he is a villain basically. So he is portrayed in such a way that he looks like a villain to us, right? Something like that. Only just one or two lines, not more than that. Now, to answer these questions, children, you can see that there is a formula, that is PE. What is it? Point, evaluation, and evidence. Your point will not be considered completed until and unless, first of all, you give the point, what all you want to say regarding the question. Then you need to evaluate it. Evaluate means you have to explain it in your own words. And then evidence. Evidence means justification, which will be given in the form of textual quotes. So textual quotes are mandatory to be given. Okay, you have to prove your point, or whatever you are explaining about it in your own words. You have to prove it with the help of the text, and that can be done with textual quotes only. All right. Children often ask me how many quotes are required. So I would say 2, 3 are sufficient. Okay, minimum 2, maximum 3, no more than that. See, quotes, if we talk about them, children, I have seen children being always worried about it. But let me tell you, children, if you are writing a word which has been used in the text and you put it into double inverted commas, that is also like quoting a word, a term. Okay, if you are right, if you don't remember the whole speech, you need not to. You may write one line, you may write half line also. Okay, make use of ellipses, right? So that it gives the examiner an idea that there is something else also which is there in the text, but the child is quoting only this much part of the sentence because only this much is relevant. Are you getting my point? So, please don't be much bother about the quotes. When you read the text again and again, of course, you learn some lines, you learn some phrases, you learn some words. The same words, phrases, or lines when you use in your answers, you just put them in double inverted commas and that will be a quote. Okay? So, look at some long questions. How does Prospero foil the plot hatched by Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo to murder him? Comment on the comic element underlying this episode. So, all these questions, when I read them to you, you will understand that they require lengthy answer. Okay? Referring closely to Act 3, Scene 2, state why Caliban wants to take revenge on Prospero. How does he plan to execute his revenge? The romance between Ferdinand and Miranda is sincere but controlled. Discuss. Yes, how is, of course, it is sincere. They are actually in love with each other, and their love is very pure, innocent, and at the same time deep, but controlled by Prospero. Then, before abjuring his magic, how does Prospero address the spirits and describe his potent art? What is the significance of this speech? Referring to Act 5, discuss how Prospero reconciles all his enemies and proves that the rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. Then, character sketches of all main characters. They are required to be prepared. See, Miranda's character has come twice, in 2019 and in 2021 also. Caliban's character has also come in 2020. So you must prepare all character. You must prepare the character sketches of all main characters, and to prepare them, children, the best way is that you just make some points about their character traits. Write an adjective, a point, and then write a quote which justify that point. Okay, so this way you can prepare your notes for character sketches of all main characters. And let me tell you, it is going to be very beneficial for you, because not only in characters, in other questions also, you will be able to use them, right? Then discuss how Act 3, Scene 1 brings out the love between Ferdinand and Miranda. Why is the scene significant? All right. So, this way, I hope you people have understood, and I have been able to discuss all important things with you. If you have any doubts, if you have any problem, you may put it in the comment box. I always read the comments and I always try to answer them also, reply them also. And of course, if you feel any difficulty, you can always ask me through the comment box. And still, if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay, so I'll be waiting for your feedback. Thank you so much. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Bye bye.